a Singaporean, this is nice to be in the old parliament. You always watch on TV. All right. Thanks, John, for the introduction. Yeah, data is massive. It's a conversation that never ends. Some of our clients will say data is the next plutonium. You can make more money on that than change, but let's see. So I've got only 20 minutes, so I'll skip some things in a sense. It's here on the screen, but I'll go a bit more detail on some things that I think will be more relevant. Okay, so first, of course, we like to classify a few things like real-time application, because it's very general, right? And why do we want the real-time application? So we want to access data in all sorts of form. Today, we're also trying to integrate different intelligence from different sources. What makes things even more complicated, operations and people are everywhere. And whether you're doing multi-cloud, single cloud, or private cloud. So these are some of the definitions of. But what's very interesting that's shaping the AI application. So I got some stats to show you later, but almost every application, about 80-90% of applications today will have AI capabilities built into it, right? So what are some of the drivers? So you can see on the left-hand side, some of the drivers are AI, ML, mobile, IoT, sensors, and so forth. What's also changing is the business drivers. Whether you want to thank pandemic or not, has driven a lot of digital transformation, especially consumer side, right? And even at end users in the enterprises. So users' expectations has changed, market has changed, and so forth. But how is this impacting organizations? So new areas of revenue, streamline, how you streamline your operations, and how do you engage your customers? All right? So I wanted to lead with 3 big brand names. And you're wondering, because when people think of AI, they always think of startups, they think of some new apps. So I want to be a bit radical today. Let's start on organizations that you know that are already running it. All right. So for example, Barracuda, right? Security company. You say, why? Right? They need to know security threats. They need things real time. They need the data now, right? So that's it. Geolocation, speed, a lot of data. FedEx. FedEx is a global logistic company everywhere, right? People thinking logistics, right? Users don't have patience. I mean, like if my office send me something, I will go on my app and track where is that package, right? Where am I going to get that package? Or my wife, likes to do online shopping, same thing, right? But a lot of logistics and data is behind it. Like for example, where's the truck? Where's the delivery? I mean, we're talking about simple stuff. We have organizations that ship, for example, perishable goods, or pharmaceutical, like the vaccines, right? You need to be a certain temperature, you need a certain speed. So there's a lot of real-time elements coming from various sources. An organization has to make a decision and present it into an app, for example, right? Again, like Priceline, pricing mechanisms. Right? I used to work in an organization before we travel. We hit into our internal intranet and say, okay, I want to travel from this country X number of days. Straight away, they come back and say, okay, these are the 5 airlines, this is the pricing, accommodation, this is your budget, right? Go and book it, right? So that time is real time in a way, but not real time booking yet, right? But imagine you have that capability. So the big shift that we've seen is that the growth of real-time data is growing 10x and will continue to grow bigger, right? So we always say data, we always mix up data and real-time data. Data you can segment as real-time, you can segment as historical, some people call it analytical data of overviews of performance, but real-time data is really, really growing massively. For example, one of our clients in India where they have something similar like a TikTok, right? The amount of data that's going through, right, is amazing, right? Okay, so how real-time data is impacting revenue? We've seen, based on statistics, about 71%. And if you look at it, business leaders today are viewing it very crucial. I think every conversation that we had a roundtable yesterday, and the conversation is everything about AI, right? Of course, the leading discussion is ChatGPT, But then behind it is AI, right? And then where the AI is coming from? Data. And then from multiple sources again, how quickly make decision, real time again, right? Of course, not for homework. Not really real time, right? But my kids will disagree. Okay, so our view is traditional solutions are struggling because they are viewed in taking data, but it doesn't help you time to market. It's not the fault. The solutions that we built were okay for 4 years ago, but the market dynamics have changed, the behavior will change. So the complexity today of deploying has changed. A lot of companies are starting to do cloud or hybrid, right? In the past, it's like, okay, I'm going to do my data center, I'm going to do it in 12 months. Hey, you got time, you got plan. Now with the cloud, I spin it up, I'm in action, right? One of our financial customers is saying, oh, Simon, I just got a license in Hong Kong. Bingo, I need to be up in 3 months. In the past, never heard of, right? So it's a lot of speed is there. And also, how do you manage costs? Traditional mindset is build my silo for this, I build my silo for this department owns this, and that means your cost is going up. And sometimes the way the architecture is designed, master and slave, I got to have here, 10 here, then I multiply another 10, 10, 10, 10, and then the CFO will have a very nice conversation with you, right? But with cloud and hybrid, right, and technology today, like open source and so forth, has helped bring costs down, right? So, bit of marketing before I go to the real stuff again. So for us, in DataStax, we believe that when you design whatever infrastructure or solution, you have to think about real-time AI now, right? So most importantly, the first thing you need to do, you have to have a open stack that you can take different technology all in one instead of piece-making everything. I'll come to it in a minute. Very important is I must be able to support different data types. Whether it's column, whether it's table format, and so forth, right? I got to integrate with ML. Today, everybody's doing ML in some form, but how do I integrate with it, right? People were telling me, oh, real-time AI. I say, friend, you're already running ML. Your ML is already taking real-time feed, right? Yeah, true. How do I open and extend this, APIs? How do I provide APIs so that my apps, wherever I roll out, can access to it quickly? Most importantly, everybody's talking about cloud economics, right? And then your operations. So as an organization, we piece it. The center of everything is data, right? Especially real-time data. Infrastructure, okay, cloud list can go longer, but I mentioned the 3 global ones, right? Not ignoring organizations may have their own private cloud, on-prem and so forth. But on top of it, we talk about organizations where you have a database as a service, where your data sits on it, ability to stream, where you can take data from various data sources, could be your ecosystem from your own different silos that you have traditionally built. But then, how do I use that event streaming to go and do machine learning, right? So all this is gelled together. That's why we're talking about one open stack, right? So another thing that we put in mind, I slide this in, so is that I just talk about real-time events. So we actually acquired an organization recently, and we actually open source this, right? So Cascada, go to cascada.io.net, you can get the open source, you can play with it. But what's the main driver behind it is that your real-time data, real-time events. So based on streaming, you know what's real. You go into a real-time feature engine, then you can do your real-time prediction service going back to the app. Everything is app today, right? So this is how we feel that the market is going towards. I can go more details on this, but because of interest of time. Okay, controversial, right? You ask me what's traditional AI, what's real-time AI, So to me, in AI models, there's 2, right? There's knowledge-based, there's constant growing, and the other one is based on whatever data you come in, you make your rules and so forth to run it, right? So basically, but today, a lot of us have apps that can do some of the traditional AI. So for like retail space, easy to get purchase history, easy to get some product alignment and so forth. But dynamic pricing is then again based on real-time data, right? Whether I got the supply, do I have the demand for it, fluctuation, right? Like the airlines are very dynamic today, right? 20 people seeing, buy 1 seat, all 9 will go up by $50 or $100, right? Whether click fast and so forth. So this is, you look at the yellow box is the traditional AI, and the orange box is the real-time AI. Right? These are some examples. I mean, this list will continue to evolve, because I'm very sure all the smart developers will find ways, and our data scientists everywhere around the world. Right? Manufacturing, for example. Right? So we have a manufacturing customer that mapped the whole digital, we call it digital factory floor. Right? So historically, we were able to look at maintenance prediction, or we're able to trace based on certain parts, goes on which batch, and so forth. But what we want is that if we are able to detect anomaly early and it goes into the plant, that will save you a lot of money. It will also isolate which particular supplier of yours, because everybody is not manufacturing everything, right? You got your supply chain and so forth. So this is one example for the manufacturing vertical. Financial services. I mean, an example would be Macquarie Bank, right? They're a digital bank in Australia. They had an app, so they know that you're a golf lover because they can check your history. They will recommend your product, right? To me, yes, it's AI, but what if I know based on certain behaviors and certain friends that you are with or associated with, I can give you a different profiling, I can give you a different recommendation. But that is real time, correct? Media, right? So I'm not going to go in, but everybody know Netflix, right? Netflix is real time. Netflix is running Cassandra, right? This is the same database, open source that we support, and this is what they can do real time because it's a masterless architecture. So they allow them to do massive quick read writes, right? Then they're now building on top of this all the different AI, because they will know based on certain patterns you follow, just like YouTube, right? Okay, during the pandemic, I watched a lot of travel because I couldn't travel, and I love food. You can see from my size, right? So they know that I like to watch certain food pattern, and they will start recommending, we will recommend you to watch this, right? Same thing, behavioral, right? Okay, so why real-time AI is important? It will help you accelerate time to market. It will hopefully simplify your real-time development operations. Why I say hopefully? Because some organization has many legacy systems. How do we bring it up to a real-time layer? So in the banking sector, we've seen a lot of organizations working with us where they built a new, well, it depends on the term, we call it real-time enterprise data layer or real-time operational layer, away from the different data silos and do a serving. Some people call it the serving layer. Depends who you want to talk to. There's no magic word, but at the end of the day, is ability to read, write, quick data. Okay, and most important, deliver it at scale. Right? You do not want, you don't have an option today, because when you roll out an app, you can't predict. Traditionally, I will buy X number of servers. Oh my gosh, I launched a new promo. It took off. You can't afford that, right? So you must be able to have that cloud scale economics as well to go behind that. Okay, so our philosophy in our organization is there's 4 steps before we become a real-time AI. First of all, open source co-innovation, right? So as a company, we actually, last 12, 13 years, we're working with the Apache Foundation, right? We're one of the major contributors, together with people like Apple, Netflix, and so forth. There are many other organizations, universities as well. But besides this, which is not on this, but I'll come back in a minute. So with that technology, which is used by all enterprises, we now put it into a cloud, so then people can do a database as a service. But we changed that in another angle. We are one of the first database in the world that is serverless, right? Where you take compute and storage separately, right? That's another discussion, because that also will impact your AI, right? You want a quick writes. The other thing that we've done is we talk about streaming and so forth. Again, we joined another open source project called Pulsar, and that allow us to do the streaming and so forth and queuing. But within all this, we actually went back to our roots, APIs, right? We created APIs so that developers can access all these wonderful things without needing to know what's underlying, right? That's very crucial, right? Because then there's speed of market, right? So with this, we actually open source a project called Stargate.io, which is actually an API, not a gateway, but it's like a proxy for Cassandra, right? So you can use that, please. We contribute to that. And then we're contributing another one called project called Starlight, which actually allows organization that has RabbitMQ, for example, Kafka. They have application written, but they want to go to Pulsar, but they don't want to rewrite the whole apps. So they connect to this Starlight, and then this ability allowed them to go into Pulsar, right? So there are many reasons for different technology, because we got to be open with newer techs, right? And then on top of that, machine learning. So as a company, we invested heavily into machine learning by having this whole data stack, we call it, no pun intended to the company name, but that will help us derive real-time AI. All right. So it's proven. We've seen a lot of organizations has seen 3 times more high performance based on this open stack architecture. Cost differentiation about 50%. It's mix of technology and human. All right. Got to be fair. Experience, 90% of Fortune 500 companies are using this stack that we talked about. Right. You want more detail? My colleagues, is more than happy to talk about it. But what's very important is that they allow a lot of our clients to go to market quicker. So when you can go market quicker, means you can get your revenue quicker, right? Back natural. And then of course, how do you bring your costing down? Okay. I wanted to slip this in because as everybody here is interested about AI, right? So we've got a team of AI experts sitting in Seattle, right? And Dr. Chana Parke, she's going to do a discussion about large language models, LLM. I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to try. But she's going to have a webinar. My colleague was kind enough to create a QR code that you can use. If not, you can go to DataStax website under webinar. You can register. It's free. But these are people that have been working with MLs when the days in Google and Microsoft. So they are ML AI experts. I'm not. Okay, compared to them. And hope I fed through enough.